Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching I Allegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because we're going to talk about what is the best bank to launder money at. I found it, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. There was a man named Da Yang Z, S-Z-E. He liked to go by David. And David Z was a man that owned a garment company out of New York City. And what he would do is he would take bushels of money, load them up into his Lexus SUV, and drive them to TD Bank. And he would make cash deposits at TD Bank. Now, we talked about this in October, how TD Bank got fined $3.1 billion, the first bank ever to be fined for laundering money. But now they're doing the investigations and all the reports are out. And this stuff is just beautiful because it's like, it would make Tony Montana blush with what these guys did because it was crazy, okay? So what Mr. Z and his pals would do is they would go to the bank and they would deposit large sums of money through his garment company, through different companies. Well, you're sitting there saying, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't cash have to be reported? Well, it's supposed to be. When you have a cash transaction of, think about this, $10,000 or more, you're supposed to have a report filled out and sent to the Financial Crimes Bureau, and it's supposed to be reported. Now, Mr. Z, he was great. He would bribe the tellers with things as simple as a Starbucks gift card. Oh, you like Subway? I'll get you Subway gift cards. And he would give them that. Now, they would overlook things like those pesky forms for the FinCEN and for the IRS and everything like that, which is crazy, guys, which is crazy. This brought the attention of other people in the gold district. And, David would go out and he would recruit people. Now, clearly, I'm being sarcastic when I said this is the best place to launder money. It's clearly the story out of Bloomberg is just beautiful, how this thing was laid out, because it was made it so convenient for these people that they weren't held accountable at all. So they would go to gold brokers, people that said they had gold businesses that wanted to, funnel ill-gotten gains, and then people that lived in places like South America, like Colombia, that were dealers of different products. And those people were given the opportunity to use David's expertise in funding and, putting money in the banks. Now, what this does is once it's put into a bank, it makes the money legitimate, because then you can do things like get bank checks. And this guy would put money in the same day, and this is supposed to put red flags as far as money laundering. They would get bank checks where they would, put $200,000 in the bank and then get $60,000 worth of cashier's checks the same day. Not supposed to do that. Okay, everybody knows that because of money laundering. Put the money in, put the money out. Put the money into, things. This stopped in the whole life insurance business of putting cash in and then taking it out. What's my whole life policy worth? And then they would take money out the next day. This was such a well-run machine that they were doing transactions like the particular day I talked about in the beginning, $274,000. They would have days where they would do $500,000. They had one day that they did $1 million in a day in cash deposits. Now, one thing that this guy would do is, hey, the bank started to have internal memos back and forth about, hey, think this is legal? No, it's money laundering. And they knew it. They knew it the whole time. They knew this. But what did they do about it? Nothing. Nothing. This goes back for years. It goes back, 2014, that period after 2008 where they were cracking down on all this stuff. No, they didn't crack down on guys like this. TD Bank merged and had a new CEO, and then, Toronto Dominion Bank, TD Bank, and bought smaller banks. And every time they did this, Mr. Z would use this to his advantage. But also, don't think he was like the sole, dealer of cash. He wasn't. This was just such a great story because this guy would go out and recruit all these people and pay the tellers. I mean, think about this. This guy, when it was all said and done, $50 here, $25 there. You paid $64,000. $64,000 in $25 and $50 gift cards to these people. That's a lot of money. Add that up, where people would just turn their back. He would walk into the bank with a picture of an ID. Hey, this is the account this goes into. Guy wouldn't be there. No ID, no nothing. Okay, we'll put it. Well, how much is that? Oh, it's 644,000. Yeah, we'll put it in the account. They would just do that over and over and over again. David would make 1% to 2%. We talked about this with the mother and son that ran the quote bank out of their house last week. And the funny thing about that was, it was designed to, to skirt income tax. And one thing that happened during COVID was the bank started to crack down a little bit, not a lot. And it got the attention of people like FinCEN. It got the Fed's attention, and especially the IRS, because this guy was supposed to be running a garment company that would do millions and millions of dollars worth of transactions. And easily, he was over $500 million, $500 million in cash ran through these places. And TD Bank, yeah, man, it was terrible. They got fined, $3 billion. Rightfully so, guys. Now that you know the story of how they let these people just run amok. And then you had a group of Colombians that came here, and they were dealing in things that they shouldn't have been dealing with that are bad. Okay, let's put it that way. These guys would put the money in. 80% of the money was then withdrawn from ATMs out of Colombia. Put the money in, take it out. Again, it's legitimate, guys. It's a legitimate transaction. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So they went and finally arrested this guy, and this is what brought it all down. But again, as they started looking at the employees, it's like, how could you let all these financial documents that are supposed to be reported, like if I walk into a bank and I put $10,000 in or I put $10,000 out, that's the trigger. It's 10,000. Once I do that, then they fill out this form and send it to the IRS and the financial FinCEN, Financial Crimes Bureau. Now, what they would do is what he would have the people do. Think about this. He would have the tellers use their own name, and that's what part of the bribes were for. So these people committed felony festival, and they would not do the forms properly. Now, what did TD Bank do when they were confronted with this? Oh, well, this is just bad training. Just you guys are nitpicking. These people just didn't know right from wrong. Yeah, as they get, 4 and 5 deposits in a week, and they're getting, wow, I made $100 in Starbucks cards. And this guy put, $1 million in the week. The Colombian people, they were light, $39 million worth of cash. But again, bad people doing bad things, and this was the bank. And the CEO of the bank, they had a saying, and it was, build your business with us, TD Bank. And I said they should have used Bill Clinton's line of we don't ask and we don't tell, is what they should have done at TD Bank. So let me know what you think about this. I think it's great. I think it's funny that you hear these stories because, again, it's out of a Hollywood movie. And the bank loved it. The bank used the money to make loans, to expand, to acquire other businesses, because they were cash rich, guys. And here's the thing. When you put money in the bank doesn't sit there. The bank lends it out. And we can talk about fractional banking all day long. And they don't have to keep it in there. They spend it and they lend it to different people. That's how they make money. And then they charge fees. And I could go on and on and on and on about this. But, let me know. There's been people recently. There's a man that was, caught laundering money. He got, did it for over 20 years. And he got himself, 4 years in jail, 74 years old. But he would sit there and say things, would love this. It's not my money. You guys are talking about this like I own this account. And this money that was transferred to another country to Brazil, it's just not my money, it's their money. So they would stall things. But these people do these things, and they're very smart. And it's kind of creative what they do. But let me know what you think. But I love stories like this. I just do. And you haven't seen anything yet. But does that make sense? Okay. So clearly, TD Bank is not the best bank to launder money. It was just a funny on that story. But read that story below because it is crazy what these guys did. And they would ingratiate all the different workers to do different things. And you take a low level person that's making very little money, you know, 12, 15 bucks an hour, and pay them off, they turn the other way, you know, so crazy. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I love stuff like this. So do you bank at TD Bank? Let us all know if they've got good service or not, because I'm dying to find out. Okay? I'll see you soon.